Oh, hey there, guys. Welcome to another episode of What's Happening in China. I've decided to make these episodes a little more, how would we say, maybe a little more structured in the future. I'm going to just basically cover a few things that are happening. First of all, the first part of the segment is going to be what's happening in daily life, the things I've been observing on the streets. Second thing, I will talk about any noteworthy news articles here, what's going on in China, and thirdly will be an update as to what you can expect from my videos and what other little projects I've got on the go, or any exciting news that I may have for all of you. So let's talk about what's happening on the streets. The most noticeable thing that I've noticed anyway recently here in Shenzhen, it's not only in Shenzhen, it's in all the major cities, is the big increase in security on the underground metro systems that they have here. I call it the metro because that's what it's called in Shenzhen, but it's got various different names. But basically, any of the underground subway train systems in the big cities, they're now doing mandatory bag scanning, which I'll be completely honest, it's very inefficient. There have been times I arrive early in the morning when the metro starts running, and there are no security guards there. I can just walk straight through, so I don't really see the point. But anyway, they sort of start operating from around about, I'd say, 7:30, 8 o'clock thereabouts, once they decide to wake up. And they cause these massive queues because now, especially during rush hour, you've got so many people trying to get onto the metro, and now each one of them has to have their bag scanned. And I'm not joking, you get these queues that are literally like, you have to wait 20, 25 minutes in this queue. Absolutely terrible. And it causes a lot of frustration because you get a lot of people trying to cut into the line, because it's one of my biggest pet peeves about China is people are incredibly inconsiderate when it comes to things like queuing up. And anyone can back me up here, anyone who's ever been here, even the Chinese people who are watching this, they know what this is all about. It's not everybody, but there's a large percentage of the population that really just don't really care about anyone else, and they'll always try to jump to the front of the line, and it just causes frustration. So that is one of the big things that seems to be affecting all the major cities right now. Taking the underground metro system during rush hour is an absolute nightmare, and I do not suggest you try and do that. Try and avoid it. Go very early like I do, or just wait until very late. Basically, those are your two options. Oh yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to add that part of this whole subway security thing is I had a bottle of this deodorant confiscated from me, from my bag, during the scanning, because you're not allowed to take any flammable, aerosol cans or anything like that. So it's quite frustrating. Also, they're doing, in some cities, they're actually testing any kind of liquid. So if you have a liquid in your bag, alcohol or anything, they actually want to open it up and smell it or taste it, or get you to drink some or whatever. So now you have to be careful about what you're taking with you. Usual things that you would not take on an aeroplane, basically. So no explosive things, nothing dangerous like knives or weapons or anything like that. So basically, just be aware of that. If you're going to be traveling on any of the metro underground systems here in China, in the big cities, basically, just don't take anything that you wouldn't take into an airport in your bag. Yeah, and you should be okay. It's quite frustrating, but it's going to be around for a little while at least, and it's basically due to the terrorist activities that have been happening in China, especially up in the west, in Xinjiang and those areas. It's been going on for quite some time. I think it's been going on forever as far as I know, but lately there have been a lot of knife attacks and things, and so they're stepping up security all over just in order to prevent any more sort of public tragedies happening. So yeah, I suppose it's there for a reason. Like I said, it's not being implemented very well, but it's still being implemented, so you're just going to have to put up with it. And the way China is, it'll probably go away within, I'd say, 4 to 6 months at the latest, and things will be back to normal, so we'll see. Anyway, that's everything to do with the subway security situation. Other daily life things, I suppose I can stick weather into this category. The weather is in Shenzhen, down here in the south right now, still really hot and humid. You can probably see I'm still sweating. I'm sitting here, in my apartment with the fan on. That's all I got right now. My aircons are on the fritz. So yes, it's really hot and humid, and of course, big, massive downpours every once in a while. It's just, here's a little clip I took in my car on the way home just now, and it's just quite insane. Massive downpours. But who knows, not going to last too much longer, and summer is only going to be around till about October, I'd say, and then things are nice and cool. So yes, that's the daily life things that would affect you here in China right now. Okay, another very important thing is, has to do with visas. Okay, they have now recently, it's probably been within the last month or two, I'd say, they've introduced a new payment method for visas. Now, if you've watched my visa videos before, I think I explained the whole situation. Usually what you do is you will go to the Public Security Bureau, obviously after doing all your Labor Bureau nonsense and stuff. This is for a work visa, by the way. But actually, no, this applies to every single visa. Usually in the past, you would pay for your visa up front. You'd go up to a little kiosk, pay cash, get a receipt, go back down, give it to the counter guy who you've just been to process your documents, and then they would take your passport, and then you would collect your visa, in a week or 10 working days or whatever it was. They've changed this now. Now, you do not pay up front, and you cannot pay by cash anymore. You have to pay via card, okay, a debit card. And it has to be a Chinese debit card from a Chinese bank, which is very frustrating for a lot of people, because not everybody has that, I suppose. And this is fairly evident, because when I went to pick up my visa, I was standing in the queue, and the bloke in front of me tried to use his international credit card, a Visa credit card. He's using a Visa to buy a Visa. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He tried it with it only had 4 PIN numbers, and it was rejected. And he tried 3 times, and then they said, sorry, you cannot use that card anymore. It doesn't work. I happened to be behind him, so I offered to let him use my card, and he just gives me the cash, which he did. He was very grateful. And while I was doing that, some guy behind me said, hey, I recognize you from the internet. It was one of my subscribers. And he was behind me in the queue. I paid for mine, I walked off. Next minute he comes running over to me and says, listen, I didn't know you couldn't pay with cash. Can you help me out? So I had to run back and swipe my card again. So I ended up paying for 3 visas with with my debit card. So bear this in mind, guys. I think the reason they're doing this is to maybe have a slightly more of an idea as to who you are, because now they have your banking details as well when you apply for your visa. That's just one of my theories. It might also be something to do with clamping down on corruption, because there's less chance people could, take the cash. Who knows? Either way, that's the new policy. So if you're going to go and pay for your visa here in China, at least in Shenzhen, and I'm guessing it's going to be nationwide. I don't see why it would only be in this city. You need to take a Chinese debit card. So that's just a Union Pay debit card from any of the Chinese banks, and you can swipe it and put your PIN number in and pay for it. That's how it works. Okay, so on to the news. So I'm here with a subscriber, right?
Yes.
How about an introduction?
Hello, I'm Philip. I'm from Czech Republic. I work in Shenzhen, and I just met Winston in the visa office by coincidence. We just hit each other, and it's really funny, and yeah, that's it.
Pretty much. So we just got our new visas, and we're good for another year here.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think about China?
China, I think it's quite good. Well, depends the place you are in. I used to be in Shanghai, and Shenzhen, I think, much better in terms of living and all these things.
Awesome, and I agree 100%. Well, absolute pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Right, guys, let's get to the news segment of this episode. So what is in the news? I can tell you what's in the news really at the moment is drugs, and more drugs. And the reason why they're going on about drugs, well, who knows the exact reason, but recently in Beijing they've been doing spot raids in popular nightclubs and bars, and basically taking random urine tests and arresting people. At least there's one properly documented account of this happening, and one person was deported, and a bunch of other people, well, who knows, taken away and I don't know, fined or warned or something. The exact details remain shrouded in, well, they're not shrouded in mystery. You can go read up on any of the numerous websites online that tell you about the news in China. And just, I think, a couple of days ago, maybe 2 days ago, Jackie Chan's son and another Taiwanese actor, up-and-coming actor, were arrested in Beijing, having smoked weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, pot. And now they're in a huge amount of trouble and losing all their endorsements and basically, got detained for however many days and fined who knows what else. I made a video probably about a year and a half ago about, drugs not being legal in China. I got a lot of hate for that, actually. You can go read the comments, like huge amounts of people just ripped into me, but I was just telling the basic facts. And one thing that most foreigners don't seem to realize living in China is that, history in China is, especially the whole history of the Opium Wars, it's basically left the Chinese really, really bitter and sensitive about drugs. And it's a sore point, and it will always be a sore point, and that's why you can still get the death penalty in China for dealing X amount of drugs. I can't remember the limit, but there is a certain amount that if you are caught with that amount, you can and probably will get the death penalty. Especially if you try and bring drugs in over the border, it's not a good idea. And I made that fairly clear in my, in this video. Here's a link, because I constantly get questions, and I'm not joking, constantly get people sending me private messages asking me, can they buy marijuana in China? Is it legal in China? I'm just going to say once again, no, it is not legal in China. Yes, foreigners do smoke hash here because you can buy hash. I know people who can get it. I know people who smoke it. The thing is, you're taking a massive risk because you're breaking the law, and in most cases these people get away with it, and you can, if you're discreet enough, you probably can get away with it. But it's just such a big risk that I would never ever suggest anyone taking that risk. I myself personally will not go near the stuff. If I'm sitting in a social circle at a bar or a club and someone starts lighting up, I'm like, listen man, if you're gonna smoke that here, I'm out of here. Simple. Because I just do not want to be associated with drugs in China ever. And neither should you. If you're smart, you shouldn't. I know a lot of people who come here, it's part of their lifestyle. Especially I find people from America and Canada, they come here and they just kind of can't live without having weed in their life. That's up to them, but dude, don't bring it out in public. Try not to involve other people if that's your thing, because it's actually an incredibly dangerous and hot topic right now in China. And well, it always will be, but just the severity of how they deal with it seems to go up and down, just depending on whatever things are going on in the news. So that's what is happening in the news. Stay away. This whole big kerfuffle is all about marijuana and pot, not even anything more bigger than that. I know there are meth problems and ketamine problems here as well, but it's a sensitive topic, and the Chinese government hates any of this kind of thing getting out there and being aired, and it's always dealt with very strictly. So like I said, just my advice to you guys out there, stay away from drugs in China, and you'll be fine, just like myself. You can enjoy a fantastic life here without having to deal with any nonsense. Okay, so that's what's happening in the news. Now we're going to get on to what's happening with my videos and what you can expect very soon. Okay, so what can you expect in the near future from my videos, and what's going on over this, with everything with me anyway? Let's get on to that. I've got some very interesting videos for you. I chased a gang of flower girl scammers out of a local metro station. I've got most of it on film, and I'm busy putting together a video about that for you guys so you can be aware of this whole little flower girl scam, what it's all about, how it works. I actually got the handlers on tape, and it was quite interesting, so I think that's going to be quite a nice video, and that'll be coming up within the next week for sure. If I can get that out tonight or tomorrow night, I'll try my best. Second, I've got a video on buying a computer here in China. It just occurred to me, a lot of people have asked where can they buy nice computers, etc. And a friend of mine, Marty the Dumpling Schmidt, needed a new computer, so we went to Huajianbei and we built one for him there. We got it built right there. So I've got a video all about that, and I show you where you can go and get it, and I've got the shop's contact details and stuff. It's quite should be quite useful if that's what you're looking for. Now, something that's quite interesting, I find it rather interesting, is there is a foreigner here who's been in China for a couple of years now, I think 6 years, and he's trying to start something the same or similar to TED Talks, from what I can gather. And he seems to be doing pretty well with it. It's called Ideas Exchange. It's here in Shenzhen. And he's invited me to come and make a speech there at the end of the month. So I'm going to go up there. I'm going to make a speech. Apparently there's going to be an audience of about 750 odd people, plus minus. It should be quite interesting. I'm going to put the details to his website underneath in the description, and maybe put a URL somewhere here, so that you guys can, go check it out. Apparently, to go to the speech, you can go and RSVP on his website or something like that. I'm not entirely sure of the details, but it's all included in the links. And he seems like a fairly decent stand-up bloke. I met with the guy and we had coffee and had a chat. And yeah, it looks like he's doing something good. So I'm going to go there and make a speech, and hopefully it all turns out well. Like I said, I'll get my lovely assistant to film the whole thing so that I'll put snippets of it up, and I'm sure he's getting some sort of person to film the event, so there should be a full recording on his website, etc. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And my speech is going to be entitled Surviving Shenzhen and Beyond. So some of you guys out there might be interested to take a look at that speech when it comes up. Anyway, so I think that's fairly interesting, and well, I look forward to hearing your guys' feedback after seeing that. It's been a while since I've done a public speech of that magnitude, so it should be a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, so that pretty much wraps up this episode of What's Happening in China. Things are great. I forgot to mention, I did get my new visa, so I'm here for another year for sure, and hopefully, I'll keep being able to renew it. But like I've mentioned before, the visa process here is always a bit iffy. You never know. And oh yes, sorry, absolutely must mention. And in fact, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to take this little visa thing, and I'm going to go and put it right back in the beginning to the whole what's happening as far as living in China is concerned. So you've already seen that part, so just forget it. I'm not going to say any more about it now. I'm just going to say goodbye to all of you guys. Thank you once again for watching my videos and subscribing. And guys, as always, stay awesome. Oh yeah, and day 3 of our Conquering Southern China adventure will be coming within about a week, I'd say. Cheers.